It is Lisa with your January 11th, 2021 love note. So I have been procrastinating like crazy on this particular love note. The message came in really early this morning, what I needed to talk about. And that's when I kind of turned to the guys and said, you gotta be kidding me. And eventually I grow some courage and say, fine, let's do this. So they let me know that yesterday when I was talking about the guides and talking about the various, sorts of guides, angels, archangels, ascended masters, spirit guides, others, guardian angels that could be surrounding and guiding us, that I left out a great, big, huge category. And that was interdimensional beings of light. So when I am talking interdimensional beings of light, basically, I'm talking about what many of us would consider E.T.s or extraterrestrials or souls that are not necessarily from this planet. And the thing is, grab your tinfoil hats because we are not alone in this universe. In fact, one of my favorite movie quotes is from the movie Contact with Jodie Foster. And she was asked by some kids, do you think we're the only ones, in the universe? Do you think we're the only life? And her response was, if we are, seems like an awful waste of space. And yeah, the way the guides kind of told me this morning is that it is incredible. I want to look at their phrase. It is incredible myopic hubris to think that we as humans are all there is. Well, okay then. So the universe is crowded. It's crowded. It's not just this third, rock from the sun that incorporates intelligent life form. Some would question whether we are intelligent life form. But what's interesting is that there are interdimensional beings from a variety of places, other planets, other solar systems, other galaxies. And many of them are actually surrounding our planet, kind of with front row seats to the shit show. But they don't see it as a shit show, which is the fascinating part. But where they're watching to see, can we humans pull off this up leveling of consciousness on a 3D planet under the guise of free will? Do we have the capacity to pull this off? Because if we do, apparently it's a big freaking deal throughout the universes. It's a big deal. And so there are many who are cheering for us, rooting us on. They see that they actually can benefit from us, up leveling our consciousness as well. This conversation might make some of you want, your heads might want to explode because it's not as if this past year hadn't been nuts enough, right? But there is the potential for increased disclosure about this conversation coming about in the near future. So it was really weird how it was kind of a non-news moment that last summer the Navy did disclose UFO sightings, videos, other information. Did you know that there's a whole UFO project within the Naval Office of Naval Intelligence at the Pentagon? I didn't know this. There have been increases of awareness that we humans have just kind of blipped over. I was like, oh, that's interesting. It just kind of blipped over. But there's been more and more information around this. It's possible there will continue to be more and more information as more is disclosed in the future. And I think the opportunity is for us to not be fearful, and to recognize that just like with any kind of energy, there are benevolent and there are also malevolent energies out there in the universe. The cool thing is Earth is a free will planet. And all right, so y'all know that I'm a science fiction fan, right? And I sometimes call myself like bi sci-fi because I like both Star Wars and Star Trek because I find it fascinating. This is not, seeds were planted in those in our popular culture for a reason, to help us start wrapping our minds around this concept. Those seeds have been planted intentionally. One of the things with Star Trek, though, is that they often talk about the Prime Directive, which basically means that these other, intelligent life forms from other places are not allowed to interfere with the natural progression and growth of of a culture or of a species on its home planet. And so that's kind of what's going on right now. And especially with Earth being a free will planet, not all planets, not all states are free will type planets. We get to choose here. And so one of the things that the benevolent beings of light are doing is kind of trying to divert malevolent efforts to keep us in fear and to keep us enslaved or disempowered. And instead, you know, support our own understanding and the like up leveling of our own awareness of our power. They're not here to be our saviors. We got to save our own freaking self, right? But it's interesting because they are sharing uplifting information, insights, awareness. They're like bird's eye view of what's going on. They're much higher perspective of what's happening on this planet. Well, we're down here in the weeds just trying to get through another freaking day, not just 2020, but now 2021, going, what shoe's going to fall next? And so, bottom line is, there are benevolent beings of light that are not angels, not necessarily ascended masters, although many of them are. They're higher states of consciousness, higher levels of consciousness. They exist in higher dimensions. They are also communicating with us. So they are also guides for many. Some of you may have heard of, some of the different groups, whether it be like Pleiadians or Sirians, Octurians, the Lyrans, the, Zeta Reticuli, the Greys, the Reptilians, there's a bunch. And Carians, my favorite, the Hathors, right? um, there are a bunch. And some are kind of malevolent by nature. And the vast majority, in my view, aren't. And so discernment is really super important when we're talking about, guides and information and the sharing of information from other cultures that are interdimensional in nature. So that's a thing. This whole UFO thing, this whole idea of extraterrestrials, it's a thing, and we're probably going to be hearing a lot more about it in the near future. We already have been hearing over the past year. We just haven't been paying any attention. There's been a whole lot to divert our attention. The bottom line is they actually want to see us succeed, and they're rooting for our success, the benevolent ones. You may hear, over time of some groups, like one's called the Galactic Federation of Light. It's kind of like the United Federation of Planets in Star Trek, right? I mean, same kind of concept, different cultures, different races coming together to be like, interplanetary UN or something, to where they actually work together and collaborate and cooperate. There are other councils and groups that are communicating with people here on Earth, and at some point they may well start, making their appearance even more known. And they haven't so far because, quite frankly, we humans would probably just freak the heck out if they did. And so conversations like this, kind of planting seeds of awareness that, hey, we're not alone. Hey, there are, benevolent beings of light that are communicating with us, that actually have our best interest at heart, that want us to know. Bottom line, they want us to know, ultimately light wins. The benevolent forces win. That love is absolutely both our most effective offense and our most effective defense. That when we can choose love instead of fear time and time and time again, that's how light wins. And they want us to know that they're actually really freaking proud of us, because we wouldn't be at this place on this planet right now if many people who are here had not made the choice, conscious or even otherwise, to hold higher levels of light, to hold higher frequencies of energy, to anchor that in, to embody that here on this planet, so that the evolution of human consciousness and Earth consciousness is even possible. This is a big deal, apparently, in the universes. Let's just all have a collective mind explosion now. But it's a big deal. And they're rooting for our success. And they're proud of us. And they know that it's the brave souls who chose to incarnate on Earth at this time. Because we knew coming in, apparently, that it was going to be a shit show. We knew coming in that the stakes were high, that the opposing forces were going to be strong, that the polarity, duality, division, all of it was going to be intense. But yet we were so committed to the light, and we were so committed to this idea of moving toward a place of unconditional love, that we said, sign me up, I'm going down, and I'm helping in the fight. And that's why we're here. And they thank us, and they're proud of us, and they're here to support us. If you have any questions, you let me know. If you need help cleaning up after the mind explosion, you let me know that too. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day. This is your love note for January 11th, kind of an auspicious day if you're into numbers at all. But don't be too surprised if you don't see some things, coming up in the near future that make you go, huh, perhaps she's not batshit crazy. She might actually be onto something here. In the meantime, know that you are loved, always, very well loved, and know that you're invited to pay that love forward. The planet needs it. I'll talk to you soon.